Look at these two environments. On the left, an aging, deserted office building in Chicago. On the right, a remote wilderness campsite deep in Oregon. These locations are separated by nearly 2,000 miles, yet they share a chilling vulnerability. When humans occupy these spaces alone, unseen entities often appear to observe them from the shadows. Isolation removes the protective buffer of a crowd. Without other people to verify what you are seeing or hearing, you become completely exposed to anomalous events that defy basic physics and logic. You can manage this risk. By removing human error and relying on objective technology, you can protect yourself. We're going to build a 4-step remote safety and surveillance protocol to secure isolated environments. Before initiating step 1, you must gather the required physical tools. You need hardware for instant motion alerts, a high-lumen flashlight, keys to a heavily reinforced room, and a pre-planned mapped exit route. Without these items, an unexpected encounter can easily escalate into a physical confrontation. Strict preparation, paired with an absolute refusal to deviate from the upcoming steps, ensures an anomalous event remains safely contained on a monitor, rather than becoming a fatal emergency. This diagram demonstrates step 1. Establish continuous, overlapping surveillance. The camera angles fan out to intersect, eliminating environmental blind spots and creating a seamless perimeter. But you must also configure the system to trigger active motion alerts the second an object breaches that perimeter. The campers in Oregon failed to do this. They left their cameras on passive recording. Because they lacked real-time alerts, a tall, pale figure was able to stand silently among the trees, watching their tent for nearly 30 seconds. They only discovered the terrifying intrusion the next morning when reviewing the footage. Michael, the Chicago security guard, successfully implemented this step. At 2:13 a.m., his system detected movement in a hallway. The instant notification allowed him to safely observe a dark, human-shaped figure gliding across the corridor and passing directly through a solid wall. Passive recording only documents an incident after the fact. Active, overlapping surveillance guarantees you have the critical seconds needed to assess an approaching threat before it reaches your door. Step 2 requires you to conduct thorough perimeter sweeps during daylight hours to document any environmental anomalies and take them seriously. Do not fall into the brush-off fallacy. When the Oregon campers found enormous footprints circling their tents with no approaching tracks, they rationalized it away as another hiker. They ignored a physical impossibility to maintain their own comfort. This rule also applies to your equipment. Sudden, localized technology malfunctions are an incredibly common precursor to a paranormal encounter. Treat a failing camera feed exactly as you would treat a physical footprint. Moments before the dark figure appeared in the Chicago office, several cameras experienced an abrupt burst of static on an otherwise perfectly functioning system. When physical tracks vanish into thin air or reliable hardware inexplicably fails, the environment is signaling a shift. You must elevate your threat level immediately, rather than dismissing the evidence. Step 3 is the no-go rule. Once an anomaly is detected, you must assess the situation exclusively through your camera feeds. You do not leave your secure location to investigate. At 3 a.m., Michael watched live footage of a third-floor conference room door creaking open. Inside, heavy office chairs began moving independently across the floor. Seeing this, Michael made the worst possible decision. He left the safety of the security room, grabbed a flashlight, and walked upstairs into the dark. He found an entirely empty conference room, but as he turned to leave, a disembodied voice whispered directly behind him, "Don't look back." The wilderness campers faced a similar physical proximity. Weeks after evacuating, they reviewed their footage frame by frame. Seconds before a scream echoed through the woods, the camera caught a pale face peering from behind a tree, just feet from where they slept. Stepping outside your established perimeter to confront an entity that actively defies the laws of physics removes your only advantage. Physical investigation instantly turns an observer into a target. Step 4 is immediate action. Depending entirely on the physical layout of your environment, you must choose to either shelter in place or abandon the site completely. After hearing the whisper, Michael utilized the interior tactic. He sprinted downstairs, entered the main security office, and refused to leave until sunrise. If you are in a structural environment, Find a room with heavy doors and zero exterior windows. Shut yourself inside, throwing the deadbolt. If you are outdoors, you employ the exterior wilderness tactic. The Oregon campers sheltered silently inside their tents, waited for first light, and immediately packed their equipment to evacuate the forest entirely. Surviving an unexplainable encounter relies on geographic isolation. You survive by placing heavy industrial doors or vast miles of distance between you and the anomaly. This checklist outlines your complete defensive framework. Step 1. Establish active, overlapping surveillance. Step 2. Acknowledge early environmental and technical warnings. Step 3. Strictly obey the no-go rule. Step 4. Execute a decisive lockdown or evacuation. You now have a concrete system for managing the impossible. By following these steps, you prioritize trusting your instruments over your eyes and staying secure over attempting to play the hero. There are countless hours of footage proving that human vision regularly fails to comprehend the entities sharing our isolated spaces. Your cameras will capture what your eyes cannot process. Keep your equipment running, stick rigidly to the protocol, and remember, if the darkness feels like it's watching you, it probably is. Stay safe out there.